To our Thursday edition of the Birdtown Sports Hour podcast. I'm Evan Bachado here with Brent Moreland.
Hey,
What's going on, Brent? Got a busy podcast this week. Another busy week of college football, NFL, all you name it. We're going to talk about it. A lot going on tonight with the MLB MVP voting. A bunch of different stuff going on.
college basketball this weekend?
College basketball starts on Friday. We're going to recap last week a little bit, not too much about it. We already went through that, but we got a lot going on. We're going to talk about many different things. But we're going to talk about college basketball for the first time. Our DraftKings lineup, locks of the week. Our locks of the week are going great, 7-1 in the last 3 weeks, right? After
7-1 in the last 2 weeks. We started off 0-4.
We started off
Pretty bad.
0-4 in the first week. Doing much better after that, but we're excited to give you our locks of the week. We're going to give you some additional locks as well. I guess we can't call them locks, but other games.
Well, they're locks for me. I don't know about you. You're 500 for the year. I'm hitting 660.
Oh, he won one more game than me, so now we're going to start boasting. Get some other, bonus picks if you want to call them that. What do you want to talk about before we get into many different aspects of sports this weekend?
Man, this weather sucks. I think it's borderline snowing outside, sleeting out. It's, November 13th? Not a fan.
Northern Maryland's getting some snow today. Now we're getting a little sleet down here. It's 39 degrees in the middle of November.
Still wearing my flip-flops, though.
Of course you're still wearing flip-flops. I got into our room, and I'm already in sweats within 30 seconds of getting into the house today. Nice
Socks are evil. Nobody likes socks. They're lying to you if they say they do.
The only person that can wear flip-flops when it's 13 degrees out and tweeting while we're doing the show right now. He hasn't looked at anything besides his phone since we got on this podcast.
Can't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah. Oh, what else do I want to talk about? You want to preview a little bit of this upcoming week in the NFL? We got a lot of games. It's a week where we don't have the Ravens, so it's a little different with that regard. No week. It's a much deserved bye week for the Ravens. It allows for some rest, a little relaxation.
It's good to get that win going into that bye week. Definitely better than going into
I'm excited that we get a week 11 bye. The past couple of years we've had third round, fourth week, bye. So it's nice to have it a little later in the season when we need it.
All right, I kind of want to spring something upon you a little bit. This wasn't in our. We like to try to plan a little bit for the show, not completely plan, but I didn't really give Evan a heads up on this, but it's kind of off the top of my head. I want you to give me some grades for the Ravens so far in the not first half of the season, but it is.
Okay.
I guess not technically the first half, but we're going into our bye. I kind of don't have to go over every player, but let's just go over a few. So, what do you think, Haloti Ngata so far this year? What would you give him?
I love Haloti Ngata so far this year. He's really bolstered that middle of the line defensively. After the past couple of years, he's kind of tweened off. I thought that his best years were gone, which probably is still correct, but I'd give him a B+ so far for this year. I mean, I was expecting maybe mid-C's was probably what I would have expected coming in, but I'd give him a B+ so far this year.
I agree. Okay, Haloti Ngata. What about our boy T. Sizzle? What do you think so far of him this year?
He's hard to judge. I mean, he's probably doing what I would have expected him to do this year. I thought he'd have a better year than he had last year. It's tough.
Doesn't have the flashy numbers, but he is doing things on the field that,
and
can't
that
really
might be a
count
good
for
sign.
always.
That might be a good sign that he's doing that because
for me, it's so far this year, I'm going to give him a C+. I can't give him anything better than that. He doesn't have the big numbers. He is kind of running his mouth like an A+, but I think we need a little bit more of him from the second half.
We need a little more from him. I thought what we're getting so far out of him is probably what we're getting now, is what I predicted him to get. Better than last year because coming off a very bad last year. He's playing within himself is probably the best way to put it. He's allowing C.J. Mosley to get acclimated with the NFL. He's allowing the people around him, Dumerville, Ngata. He's allowing other people to play their best game while getting double teamed a lot. So I'm happy with what he's doing. If he does more, I'll be even happier. Obviously, I think he can do more. But if he continues at this pace, I think he still gives us a decent shot to get to the playoffs.
Okay, one more on the defensive side of the ball, and that's going to be your new Man Crush Monday, C.J. Mosley.
I love C.J. Mosley. I'm ecstatic that we got him. It's nice that the Ravens finally got an early pick in the first round, probably since we got Flacco in 2007 or 2008. I think 2008.
Well,
But we finally, obviously, with the bad last year, we always have been drafting in the 20s, 32 the year before, winning the Super Bowl. Now that we got an earlier pick, bolster that middle of the linebacker position. C.J. Mosley allows a push. He's quick. He can move laterally to get the running backs. He did well with Le'Veon Bell last Sunday when we played the Steelers. I was expecting him to do well. He's quick laterally with those running backs out of the backfield. He can also protect the run, which for a middle linebacker that he's not as big as other middle linebackers, so to speak. He still is quick enough. He's physical enough, and as a rookie winning the NFL or the defensive rookie of the year last month, I think he's everything we thought he would have
Defensive
been.
Rookie
And
of the Month. All right.
yeah, for
So
him.
can I get a grade?
Yes, I'll give him so far an A minus. You can't give anybody an A plus unless their name is
I give
J.J.
him a
Watt.
solid B so far.
Okay, I'll give him an A minus. I think it's tough to do. To,
He's playing really well, but he's not playing that well. I mean, for a rookie, he's playing A plus football for a rookie. But on a, if you want to grade him on the same level as everybody across the league, I think a solid B is good, and you
and
have to be
if
pleased
you're
with
gonna
that.
grade him like that, then I would do it. I'm more of what I was expecting. But
Okay.
fair enough. If you're gonna grade him along everyone else, in the high B's, low A's is what.
Okay. And we don't have to go through everybody on offense, offensive line, or receivers. We're kind of got a good start out. Steve Smith, now he's teetering down, and now Torrey started slow, and he's been playing well. So we'll go with the two main focal points in the offense. We'll start off with the surprise of the year, Justin Forsett.
Justin Forsett. He's leading the league, or was he fourth in the league in
Fourth
yards,
in the league in
total
rushing.
yards. He's 5.5 yards a carry. He's really become the number one running back, and he also can catch out of the backfield. Not great out of the backfield, but he can catch out of the backfield. Um, he's allowed us to get a solid running game to help our receiving game. In a year where we had unexpected
I think he's been the MVP of the team so far this year.
he is. He's been the MVP of the team. He's allowed in a year where Flacco hasn't been as great as he could have been, in a year where we lose Ray Rice very early, in a year where Bernard Pierce was out early, in a year where we got Lorenzo Taliaferro, who's a rookie. He has been the MVP, and not only because he's been playing great, but he's put something in a position where we didn't have anything else. And if you take him out of the equation, you got Lorenzo Taliaferro, Bernard Pierce by themselves. This team would be lucky to have 5 wins, 4 wins maybe right now. So he's the MVP. Let me ask you. I want to ask you a
So
question.
what's the grade, real quick?
I'm gonna give him I'll give him an A minus as well.
I agree with that.
Let me ask you a question on the offense, and then I'm gonna talk about another guy on the offense real quick. Um, Torrey Smith. He's we thought he'd be the number one receiver. Steve Smith kind of helped out, and he's faded away. I know you love him, rightfully so, out of Maryland. What would you give him, and tell me why?
At this point, I'm giving Torrey Smith a C plus, but I definitely think he could be doing a lot better. And I think towards the end of the year, I think his grade's going to be a lot higher than that. He started off really bad, but he's been playing really well the last couple weeks. I expect him to have a really big. I guess I keep calling it second half. It's not really second half, but I expect him to have a big second half of the season.
We can call it second half
And
after the bye.
kind of put the receiving core on his shoulders a little bit. Steve Smith, I don't want to say it was a fluke what he did at the beginning of the year, but I don't expect him to keep up what he did, and you could see he's already starting to fade a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like Torrey going forward, so C plus I think is fair.
That's right about what I would do as well. I think the loss of Dennis Pitta not only hurt Joe, but it hurt Torrey Smith as well, because Torrey Smith's a deep downfield threat. Not the best route runner, not the best hands, but he's got a little bit of everything. He's the best is his speed, his burst. Dennis Pitta, when he's healthy, as a top 6, 7 tight end in the league, if he's healthy, hasn't been in a while, he allows the safeties to push up and worry about him. They push the entire defense up, and that allows us to spread the field and go deep down over the top of the defense with Torrey Smith. That hurts. Owen Daniels is no slouch, but he's no Dennis Pitta. I would give him about the same as well. And I want to talk about another guy. I don't know if you have any other people to ask me about.
Well, I think the last one we got a grade is Joe Flacco.
Okay, before we talk about Joe Flacco, let me talk about Rick Wagner. At right tackle, I did the blog a couple days ago, listening to and I ended with the 4 heroes or 5 heroes. Rick Wagner, probably nobody would have expected it, but he's probably the overall steadiest lineman on offense we have so far. He's protected a right side of the line that we haven't had in a while with Michael Orr. He's protected well in the pass. His quick feet, his push against the pass, and against the run, he's got that burst up, and he against those D tackles, those D linemen, and I'm sure Joe would tell you, I'm sure Forsett would tell you, he He's really helped out on that right side of the line, something we haven't had in Baltimore for a while.
Yeah, he's
Um,
been a nice addition, nice pickup.
Very nice, very nice. All right, let's talk about Joe then. Joe Flacco, what does he have? 18 touchdowns, or 17
17.
touchdowns, 8 interceptions. We've talked about it before. Played well against bad teams, against good teams, not so much. Let me talk about what I think. I know
Sure.
I like him a little more than you, and then I'll let you talk about, and you can, I'm sure, criticize what I think about him.
Yep, just say one.
I'll give him a C plus. Um, there's arguments either way on this, but he's done enough to win 6 games. I talked about we've beaten teams that we should beat, where other teams in our division have not. Every team in our division is at least tied or lost to a bad team. Um, but we've beaten teams we should beat. We're at 6-4 at a year where we're not. We lost our tight end. We lost our #1 running back. We're not getting great play out of wide receivers. But those are all excuses. He needs to play better. He needs to be more accurate. It's probably the #1 thing. But I'll give him a C plus. I'm not going to banter about him anymore. I'll leave it with that. C plus. Brent, what do you think?
I'm going to give him a C minus for the year. Yeah, you said it. I've been saying all year he's been playing well against bad teams. If you look at his stats from the surface, they look great. 17 TDs to 8 picks. But you got to account, what's the worst division in football? The NFC South. Joe Flacco's in the 3 games against the NFC South, he has 10 TDs to 2 picks. Aside from that, he's only got 7 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Outside of that's 7 games. So I mean that he really needs to improve. He needs to play well. His pocket presence, it seems like he's regressing in that aspect. His accuracy is not very accurate. You just need better play out of him. This team could be a lot better in 6-4 if he would just play better. I fully believe that. Yes, he doesn't have AJ Green or Julio Jones or Dez Bryant on the outside, but his receivers are serviceable. I know for a fact Cam Newton would murder to switch places with Joe Flacco this year and be thrown to Torrey Smith. And even though he had Steve Smith last year, have Justin Forsett out of the backfield. Owen Daniels, he's not great anymore, but he's average. And I like these young core wide receivers he got. Clay's brother Sam Aiken. We got Campanaro. Hopefully he can get back on the field. Even long lost man Marlon Brown. I'm so glad that Jacoby's not on the field receiving anymore. We need
Kamar
better
Aiken.
play out of Joe Flacco point blank.
I agree. All right. I like how we did the little game in the beginning. I'm going to do one with you right now. I know we don't have a lot of time. We got a lot to deal with in this preview podcast, but what the hell? Um, I'm going to do a Joe Flacco or, and then I want to do a Torrey Smith or, and something that's just fun.
I
So
think we should skip the Torrey Smith or and then just do Joe. But no, we could do both. Go ahead.
let's see. I'll do it quick. I guess you got to talk about this one. On our team now, we're talking about the age of the people I'm going to say, and then Joe. All else equal right now on the Ravens in the Ravens uniform. Joe Flacco or Cam Newton.
Cam Newton healthy or Cam Newton as he is?
Healthy. We'll talk. Everybody healthy.
Cam.
I disagree wholeheartedly on that one. All right. What else can I do? Let's do Joe Flacco or Colin Kaepernick.
Ooh.
This should.
Flacco.
Yeah, good. You better have said that. Joe Flacco or Russell Wilson.
Oh, easy. Russell Wilson.
No.
Not even contest.
All right, I disagree with that as well. Russell Wilson's good in the system, but I don't know if would do great here or many other places. You got a great defense and a great running back. I'll do a couple more. Well, let's end with that. Let's end with that right now. I'm going to do a couple of Torrey Smith ones as well. Torrey Smith or Keenan Allen.
Torrey Smith.
I want to debate that, but I can't. Keenan Allen hasn't proven himself enough yet. Torrey Smith or DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Torrey Smith or let's see. Right now on our team, Andre Johnson.
For this year, Andre Johnson. Come on.
Andre Johnson?
Come on.
Okay.
Andre Johnson has Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the football. Come on.
He's also old. All right, one more. Torrey Smith or Dwayne Bowe?
I don't know. Coin flip. I don't think it matters.
Okay. All right. Something different. I like this. It's food for thought. It makes you really think about maybe not always thinking grass is green on the other side and take what you have because around the league it's tough to have good players on all cylinders. So I think without further ado, let's move around the NFL. We got a lot of games to talk about without the Ravens. It's still a fun weekend starting tonight. Anything else you want to touch on before we really get headstrong into the NFL?
Nope.
All right. Tonight we got a game in about hour and a half. Buffalo going to Miami. Miami's 5.5 point favorites. 42 is the over under.
Oh, just before we get started, I'm sorry to jump into this. If you guys want to see, actually, forget it. You guys will be hearing this on delay. My bonehead move of the week. Go ahead, Evan.
Oh, you'll have a couple more though.
Uh-huh.
Buffalo, Miami. Miami minus 5.5. That's a big number for me. We'll talk about that a little later in the podcast. But
It's creeping down a little bit, but we're just giving the lines that we got yesterday. So
yeah, well, we're gonna stick with the lines we got because we're gonna hold them at that. Miami 5.5. They're both 5-4 teams. The divisional game, obviously playing for a wild card because we don't think, or does anybody else, that the Patriots are really going to lose that division as strong as they are with the history they have as well. What's your 2 cents?
I like Buffalo winning this game, actually. Miami's banged up. Lamar Miller's practicing. They say he's going to play this week, but who knows? He only got 4 carries last week. Miami lost their stud left tackle, Brandon Albert, for the year last week against Detroit, and then also one of their other guards is out for the 3rd straight game. I think Buffalo's defense, they're rolling right now. They have a good defensive line. They got Mario Williams up there, Marcel Darius. He's been one of the best D linemen in the league this year, possible contender for Defensive Player of the Year, even though he plays in Buffalo and probably won't get the credit he deserves. I don't think Miami's going to be able to run the ball on Buffalo at all, and that leaves Ryan Tannehill in charge of throwing the ball, and I'm still not sold on him throwing the ball.
Yeah, Miami is not a great home field advantage anyway. I think Buffalo. There's one big matchup in this game, and that's Sammy Watkins going up against Brent Grimes. The winner of that may be able to win the game. I think Sammy Watkins is good enough to take advantage of.
I think Brent Grimes right now. I don't watch every single one of his plays, so I'm kind of generalizing here, but I think he should be good enough to cover Sammy Watkins. What I do kind of am calling a little bit. I'd like to see Robert Woods maybe break out a little bit and have a decent game. He was a stud when he was at USC. He's still a good receiver, and if Kyle Orton get him the ball, he's not going to have Brent Grimes on him. I think he can have a good game.
I like that. I think it's a step up to Stevie Johnson alongside on the right side over there. I think another big thing is Bryce Brown. I think he's going to have a big game. I know Dixon's going to play as well. I think Bryce Brown gets the majority of the carries. I think if he has a big game, and I think he will have a big game.
Yep, Fred Jackson's not playing tonight.
Yep. So I think he's going to have a big game as well. So look for that in about an hour and a half. We both think Buffalo covers the spread. I think Buffalo wins as well with Brent. Enough of that game.
That's a good game. No part of talking about it.
No, it'll be a fun game. It's good to see a Thursday night game like that. We'll talk about a game that's not as fun. Talk about the bad NFC South. Atlanta going to Carolina. Carolina's 1.5 favorites. 46 is the over/under. What can you say about this game other than it's 2 teams that are underperforming right now, 2 quarterbacks underperforming, 2 teams without running games?
It's just all around ugly. But the crazy thing is, this game could potentially decide the division winner. I don't really care who wins this game, but I just want to say one thing. I feel bad for Cam Newton. I've been a fan of Cam Newton since he was tearing it up at Auburn. God, that guy, he might die on the field this year. He gets hit more than any other quarterback. He
also holds the ball too long. He holds the ball
come on.
too long.
Look at this stat by Adam Schefter was posted earlier.
I saw it.
Today.
Yeah.
Most QB sacks or hits the past 4 seasons. Cam Newton 531. Number 2 is Ryan Fitzpatrick at 272. It's insane. Of course, he might not get rid of the ball on time every time, but man, that was a brutal game to watch Monday night, watching him just get hit on every play. His offensive line is terrible. He's got injuries to both legs. I really don't think he's going to make it the rest of the year without getting injured.
He won't, but that's the common theme when you got running quarterbers. A lot of them don't.
He doesn't really run as much as he used to.
Not as much.
He's not in the RG3 or the Tannehill build. If you watch him actually play, he's got a good arm. He sits back in the pocket.
Well, he doesn't sit. He sits in the pocket, but then he tries to. He might flush a pocket too quick. Might go to the outside a little too quick. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he tries to make a little too much. I don't know. I'm still not bought into Cam Newton. I feel bad that he gets hit that much. But who's number 4 on that list, by the way?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. All
Mr.
right.
No pocket presence. All right.
Yeah. Oh, so it's Joe Flacco's fault when he gets hit, and it's not Cam Newton. Minnesota, Chicago. Chicago 3-point favorites. Jake Cutler. 47 over under. I think Chicago rebounds a little bit against the Minnesota defense, that's well below par.
That's false. Minnesota actually has a pretty solid defense.
I don't think they have that good of a defense. I think they're decent, but I think Jay Cutler can take care of that defense. They're nothing special. Matt Forte on the ground can pound it. Jay Cutler, I think, breaks out of this horrendous slump that he's in right now. If he gets his head, it's more mental than it is physical with him. I think Chicago covers a three and wins handily, maybe a 27-17. 30.
Minnesota ranked 8th in total yards per game.
Who are they playing? Look at their games they played.
No, they don't play Green Bay.
One
Detroit.
time they played Green Bay. Yeah,
Anyway, I like Minnesota to win this game. I actually think they're a solid team. Teddy Bridgewater didn't have the best start, but for a
You're
rookie,
big on Teddy Bridgewater.
he's playing pretty decent. I like Jerick McKinnon, good rookie running back. Matt Asiata is not that great. He is what he is, but I like them to win this game on the road at Chicago. Where Chicago, I think they're going to have a borderline top 5 pick in the draft. They're just a dumpster fire. Back-to-back games giving up 50 points.
All right, put it on the board. I say Chicago wins. Brent says Minnesota wins. Very strong on both sides. That'll be fun to talk about on our next podcast. Houston, Cleveland. This is a fun game for AFC North fans, for the Ravens, sitting at home watching on the couch. Cleveland's 3-point favorites at Houston. Over/under is 42.5. Two quarterbacks who have played behind Tom Brady, Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett. This is going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a high-flying game, not a high-scoring game, but I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, and one game that may go down to the final minutes.
Yeah, I think Houston's going to win a low-scoring battle. I want to see Ryan Mallett play for sure. He's got a big arm, but he is a statue in the pocket. But he might be able to get the ball to the wide receivers better than Ryan Fitzpatrick did. They got some talent wide receivers. I really actually kind of haven't did my homework and found out about Arian Foster, if he's playing or not. If I had to guess, I would take a guess that he's going to play.
I heard he is.
I like that Houston to beat Cleveland this week, and I think that will put them at 5-5, which kind of makes them a little bit of a threat for the wild card.
Yeah, this is a tough game to pick. I wouldn't put any money on this game. I think Cleveland has a good shot, only because they're at home and the fans are starting to believe in this team, starting to come out, and they're starting to believe in themselves. And Cleveland can be a scary team when they start believing in themselves, when they get that confidence boost, and then, hey, we're actually in this. We're leading the division. We're in the wild card spot as well. They're starting to believe. I think Cleveland wins this game, but we talked about it earlier. It's going to be a close game, a fun game to watch. I'm actually looking forward to this in the 1 o'clock slate.
Who the hell would have ever thought that this year? Houston,
Houston with 2 wins last year. Cleveland had, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
They have now combined for more than that already this year. Seattle, Kansas City. This is one of the top 5 games of the week. Seattle going to Kansas City. Kansas City's a slight favorite. A battle of two good running backs. Teams that probably both under the radar right now.
They both kind of share the same identity. Can't really get it going in the passing game, play good defense, and have good running backs.
I heard a stat. Kansas City has not allowed a rushing TD this year, which is unbelievable.
That'll change.
Yeah, that will change probably with Marshawn Lynch coming to town, but it's a crazy stat. And another game that's probably not a high-scoring game, like you said, similar identities. 2 quarterbacks that do enough, 2 running backs that hold the weight on their shoulders. 2 teams that don't really have great receivers. Good defenses. I like Kansas City in this game.
So do I.
All right. Next, another AFC North game. This game is going to be fun to watch. A little different in identity, more of a high-flying game, I think. Cincinnati going to New Orleans. New Orleans 6.5-point favorites. This is a game where we got Andy Dalton against Drew Brees. That looks to the eye like, oh, Drew Brees got the big edge. He does have the edge, and talent-wise, in the game, I don't know if New Orleans are going to blow this game out. It's going to be a good game. I think they hand the ball off to Jeremy Hill a lot and make it a good game. Try to slow the game down, keep Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints offense off the field. What do you think?
I think New Orleans is going. I think since he's going to keep it close for a little bit, but in the end, I think New Orleans is going to win.
Yeah.
And actually, if I had gun to my head, I'd guess bet them to cover. Giovanni Bernard not in again this week. I can't have any faith in Andy Dalton. Worst quarterback of all time.
I think they're better with Jeremy Hill than they are with Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, I don't agree. But, I mean, it's not that – I don't think it's night and day difference, but I think Giovanni Bernard makes Andy Dalton better because he can actually make some plays out of the backfield receiving. I like New Orleans win. I don't think New Orleans is going to lose 2 in a row at home, but with the way the NFC South is going this year, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. It'll be a fun game, more a high flying game than the other ones we've been talking about. This is a NFC match. San Francisco going to New York, going to the Meadowlands, playing the Giants. San Francisco is 4.5 point favorites on the road. Kaepernick looking to have a good game, maybe trying to allow Vernon Davis to play a little bit. He's really overlooked Vernon Davis the entire year. He's
He's been
looking
hurt
deep.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, he has, but he's been looking downfield. There's been plenty of times that Vernon Davis has been open. Kaepernick's really looked downfield the whole time. He's got to see his underneath routes a little more. I think San Francisco wins this game, but I don't think the Giants are slouches here. Eli Manning has quietly put up a pretty decent year. Um, I don't
I
know. I
think the
think it's gonna
Giants
be
win this game. I think this is a potential trap game for San Francisco after a tough game against New Orleans, 1 o'clock Eastern game in New York for a West Coast team. It's going to be I think it's going to be one of the ugliest games of the week to watch, and I think Giants can win a close game.
good.
They get their running back this week too, Rashad Jennings.
All right, put that on the board. That's another one we differ in. It's probably only the second one actually. San Francisco, I think he thinks the Giants. All right, we got Denver going to St. Louis. The biggest spread of the week. St. Louis 9.5 point dogs at home against Peyton Manning and the Broncos coming to town. The over is actually 50.5. What do you think about this game?
I think St. Louis is going to keep it close for the first half, but Denver will end up putting them away. St. Louis is actually kind of sneaky, a pretty decent team. They're playing everybody tough, even with all them injuries. Keep saying it. You got Sean Hill back in quarterback this week for Brett Favre Jr. Ronnie Hillman's going to be out, but Monte Ball back in, so I don't expect that to make too much of a difference for Denver. But I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball against a tough Rams run defense. I look for Peyton Manning to have a big day and find them receivers on the outside.
Yeah, I think Denver wins this game. Don't get me wrong, but I think 9.5 is a lot. I'll talk about this later, but I do think St. Louis is going to cover this game. St. Louis is good. I mean, they're a good team. They're an underrated team, but they have a decent defense. The running game is a little skeptical. I'm a little skeptical is probably the understatement of the day. But they had a new quarterback in, which is tough. But Denver's going to come into town. They lost Ronnie Hillman. C.J. Anderson's going to play. They're getting ball back, like you said. Denver wins this game. Denver's the best team in the NFL right now, in my opinion. To go into a decent team at home or on the road. 9.5's a lot. I think St. Louis covers. I think Denver wins. All right, this game is pretty shitty. Very shitty. Tampa Bay going to Washington. Washington 7 point favorites. Anytime Washington's a 7 point favorite, that's not going to be a good game. Anything you want to talk about this game?
Nope.
Oh, Oakland going to San Diego. San Diego's 10 point favorites. I made an error earlier saying that St. Louis, Denver was the biggest spread. This is actually the biggest spread. San Diego is a 10 point favorite at home against Oakland. Does Oakland stand a chance?
No. San Diego is not going to lose their fourth straight against the Raiders. Well, not fourth straight against the Raiders, but their fourth straight game this
I
year.
know what you meant. Four straight game in a
Yep.
row. I think this could be an upset. I wouldn't bet anything on it. I just have a weird feeling that Oakland, Derek Carr is starting to understand himself, get the Michael Rivera a little bit. I think San Diego is such a team that you have no idea what they're coming out with every Sunday, and they can be good one day, they can be bad. If they're good, Oakland doesn't stand a chance. But if a bad Phillip Rivers comes out,
Ryan Matthews is back. That's definitely going to help a little bit.
yeah, I don't know. I think San Diego wins. I would not be shocked to see Oakland win.
I would
Um,
be.
Okay, and as is with a lot of the people, but what do I know?
Not much.
Detroit going to Arizona. Arizona's 1.5 point
Game of
favorite.
the week right here.
Game of the week. 3 losses combined between these two teams. Who would have thunk it? Um, two teams with two completely different identities. Detroit, good. Well, they both have good defenses, but you look on the offensive side of the ball. Detroit really has a great quarterback. Not great quarterback. A good quarterback. Good weapons. Off running wise, they're not great, but they really like to spread the ball. Arizona coming in with a new quarterback and Drew Stanton. Going to try to rely on Andre Ellington against a great running defense of the Lions. I got to give the edge to Arizona in this game, but it's going to be close.
I kind of disagree a little bit. I think these teams are actually really similar, except for one difference that Arizona likes to use their running game a little bit more than Detroit. Obviously, Detroit has what I've been pimping out as the best receiver combo in the league right now with Calvin and Golden Tate. Even though they have Reggie Bush and Joique Bell in the backfield, they just can't really run the ball. Um, I love Arizona. I really do. I think I've been saying they're the best team in the NFC, and I've been saying Detroit's the second best. But Drew Stanton coming in, he's obviously a drop off from Carson Palmer. He's not the worst backup in the league. He might be the best, but it's still a drop off. I like Detroit to go to Arizona to win a tough fighting game.
Okay. And I guess we'll segue in the next game by me saying that I think both of these teams in the next game are better in the NFC than both of the teams in the game we just mentioned. Philadelphia at Green Bay. Green Bay's 4.5-point favorites. I love this game. This is going to be a fun game to watch. I'm not sure what the outcome is, but I think this game is going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be cold. Cold snap coming through Green Bay, the upper northwest. I think it's going to be what we call the frozen tundra up there at Lambeau. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and I do think both these teams are better. Records may not show it. Both these teams at neutral site would beat Detroit and Arizona.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Proven good defense beats good offense. Both the two teams have better defenses. But anyway, this is another great game this week. Mark Sanchez playing well. Who would have thought that? Aaron Rodgers has his offense rolling. I think he's going to torch up this 28th ranked pass defense in the Eagles, and I expect Green Bay to win this game by a touchdown or more.
By a touchdown or more. Green Bay, I think a neutral site it's a pick 'em. Green Bay has a home field advantage, and they play much better in the cold. Mark Sanchez, I like what he's doing right now. I like how he's connecting with Jordan Matthews. Jeremy Maclin's still there, so you can't forget about him. Riley Cooper. LaShawn McCoy needs to break out. In a game where it's cold like this might be a time for him to do so. Keep the ball out of Rodgers' hands by pounding the rock a little bit. I can't say I like Philadelphia to win this game. Yeah, I'll say it. I like Philadelphia to win this game. I think they're going to win. I really. It's shocking because Green Bay 4.5-point favorites. I do like Philadelphia to win this game. I think Sanchez has a good game. It's tough to go in there, but I think Philadelphia wins this game.
I can't say that you're an idiot, but you're an idiot. Anyway.
You won't be the first. Now let's go to my opinion the best game of the week. Detroit, Arizona is fun, but it's not like this. New England going to Indy. 2.5-point favorites are the Colts. Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady.
Dun dun dun. Battle of two of the best quarterbacks in the league. 48 TDs to only 12 picks combined for these two in 18 games. If this game was in New England, I'd be picking New England to win by 10 plus, but it's not. It's in Indy. And even then, I still think New England's going to go into Indy and win a close game by 3.
All right, let's put that on the board for another thing we don't agree on. I think Indy wins this game. 2.5-point spread pretty much means at a neutral site it's going to be a pick 'em. I like Indy to take control of the game, run the ball, let Andrew Luck control the team. Against the New England defense, it's not great. I think they jump out early and kind of take the momentum and keep the momentum the entire game. It's a close game. I'm thinking maybe along the lines of 57.5-point over-under. So we're talking 28-24, something along those lines. I would not be surprised either way, but I do think Indianapolis wins this game. That's a Sunday night game. Hopefully we get a good Sunday night game for once. It's been 4 straight games, I think, Sunday night games that have just been brutal to watch, one-sided, lopsided affairs. Speaking of prime time, let's go to the next game, Monday night game. The last game that affects our AFC North. Pittsburgh going to Tennessee. Tennessee's 5-point dogs at home, and probably rightfully so because they are god-awful. Pittsburgh looking to do what the Ravens did to Tennessee last week, is beat them. Pittsburgh, 5-point favorites on the road. Roethlisberger trying to bounce back from a little bad week last week. I mean, you can't have 6 touchdowns every week. I think Pittsburgh takes this game and wins by more than 5. What do you think?
I agree. Titans stink.
Yeah, it's not a good game. Anything else you want to touch on? I know we're going to talk more about NFL and our locks of the week and all that good stuff, but we kind of breezed through this around the NFL. A lot of games this week, not many teams on a bye.
No, better slate of games this week than it was last week. Looking forward to it.
All right. We'll save the MLB awards for last. Let's go to college football a little bit. Let's have some fun with college football. Some fun games this week. November college football. You just can't ask for much more. The playoffs before the playoffs, so to speak. A lot of these games are almost playing games to get to that Final Four slot. Before we talk about the college football games, let's talk about the new rankings in the college football. We got number 1 Mississippi State. Oregon jumped Florida State to number 2, which is a surprise to a lot of people, myself included.
Stupid.
Florida State bumps back to 3. And then number 4. Oh, what am I not thinking of right now? I cannot think of number 4 right now.
Texas Christian University.
That's right. TCU at number 4 with Boykin. All right, so we got those four. Alabama on the outside looking in, along with Baylor. There's a lot of good games right now, and even if people are upset with what the rankings are 1 through 4, there's Alabama still controls their own destiny. Everyone controls their own destiny within the top 6 or 7 to make it in there. So they don't mean a whole lot right now. Um, but it's fun to look at. And it shows where we're
It's
going right
weird
now.
how they're doing it. It really is weird. They're valuing TCU more than Baylor, even though Baylor beat TCU. It's just interesting.
Well, you got Baylor as a team that's out of 128 FBS teams, they're absolutely last in their strength of schedule and non-conference. 128 out of 128. You got to value a non-conference schedule. You don't need to play 3 good teams or 3 great teams, but at least put 1 good team in there. Like Alabama and
Um,
West Virginia, you got to put one. You can't be 128 out of
okay,
128.
West Virginia's playing way over their head this year. Nobody expected them to be playing this well, but
At least they play somebody with a name.
I don't care about that when you play in a Power Five conference. I really don't think it matters.
So you don't want to get any good out of conference games. So if Baylor was in
Uh,
it, then it would show to the rest of college football. Hey, let's not schedule. What's the purpose? What's the benefit of scheduling a tough game? There's no.
so you're going to value Baylor losing one game all year in the Big 12 and not put them in just because they didn't beat a team out of conference like West Virginia or like a Boston College, just
Well,
over
because
in the Power
they
Five.
could have lost to them, and that could have been their second loss. They had no chance to have a second loss because of a team they didn't play, but because they're not playing any real teams out of conference. So all these colleges are going to say, you know what? What's the point of fearing a loss or maybe losing to a good team? Let's not schedule any good. Let's have 3 so-called buys and play teams.
So TCU's out of conference win over Minnesota really means that much to you?
Yeah, because it's still a conference game. They're still a
Yeah.
conference team, and why not schedule a good team? Let's everyone schedule bad teams now.
I think you're overvaluing it a little bit.
No, I completely disagree. All right, but let's get into the slate at hand for this upcoming
If you look
weekend.
at Mississippi State's out of conference schedule, Southern Miss, UAB, South Alabama, University of Tennessee Martin. I mean, I really think it's overblown. If you're playing in the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Big 10, the SEC, I really don't think it matters.
You need to play somebody good out of so you play 4 bad teams. I understand that, but 128 out of 128, and you expect to make it in over TCU, over
Which
Alabama?
they will though. If Baylor wins out, they will make it in over TCU.
Exactly, and I talked about that before. They still control their own destiny, so there's not a lot to fret about. But right now, I don't think they deserve to be in over teams like TCU or Alabama. But that's just my humble opinion. Um,
Stupid.
no, I'm always right. You know that.
Uh-huh.
Nebraska, Wisconsin. Number 13 Nebraska going to number 25 Wisconsin. Big Ten West showdown. This is very big for the Big Ten West. 2 teams with similar identities, great running backs who always seem to at least score 3 touchdowns a game. Amir Abdullah for Nebraska, Melvin Gordon for Wisconsin. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it will. It's a battle of arguably 2 of the best running backs in the country. Probably not though. 2 of the top 5 running backs in the country for sure. Both these teams are kind of similar. I'm going to give the edge to Wisconsin just because they're playing at home, and I saw what they did to Maryland when they were at home.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska, they went to Michigan State, and it looks like they only lost by 4, which they did only lose by 4. But for the most part, they were out of that game. Michigan State was controlling it the whole game. They kind of let them in at the end for like a little bit of a backdoor cover.
Nebraska is a they're a one-loss team. They still have a chance. Obviously, Wisconsin has something to play for because they're still trying to win the Big Ten. But Nebraska still has a chance, a backdoor chance, if they continue with one loss throughout the year. They have a chance to go win a national to a college playoff. They really do, and I think they're a good enough team to do it. I think they're going to beat Wisconsin. I know they're 6-point dogs. They only lost 1 time to Michigan State. I like Nebraska. I like them to win this game. Auburn, Georgia, little SEC battle here. 2 good teams, 2 teams that have been struggling a little bit. I know Georgia won handedly over Kentucky. What do you see in this game?
I see a shootout in this game, and I think you'll hear about it in my locks of the week later on. Todd Gurley coming back. I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but it's something I've been beating my chest a little bit the past couple weeks. I think when you look back 5 years from now and you look at this Georgia backfield, you're going to be laughing at how good it is. I mean, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, even the freshman Sony Michel, great name. he's a stud too. I think you have 3 pros in that backfield for sure. And I think Todd Gurley, he's going to be a top 10 pick in this year's draft as long as Willis McGahee doesn't happen to his knee. I like Georgia to win this game because I think Auburn just really doesn't have anything to play for after last week, and Georgia still has an outside chance to make the SEC championship game
Mm-hmm.
because I don't trust Missouri either.
Yeah, Auburn defense is really struggling. They're just not hitting on any cylinders on the defensive side of the ball. Hudson Mason, good quarterback for Georgia. I think Georgia wins as well. High-scoring game, and the numbers show it. I think it's going to be one of those games where the last team to have the ball wins, and I can't really predict who does it, but it's going to be a fun game to watch. Definitely different than some other games we're going to talk about where it's defensive minded. So it'll be a fun game to watch if you like offense, which a lot of us do. Let's go to a local game here, Michigan State at Maryland. This game nationally not looking like it's going to be a fun game to watch. One-sided game. The numbers will show that as well. Michigan State coming to Bird Stadium at night. It'll be a fun game for Maryland fans. See a little night game. Obviously, Stephon Diggs not in it.
Yeah, it sucks.
I think I know what you're going to say, but does Michigan State does Maryland have a stand a chance? And what do they? Let me rephrase that. If Maryland was to stand a chance and win this game, what do they need to do?
C.J. Brown needs to play well. They need to up front stop the run, which I think they can actually do better job on defense than they will on offense. This is a primetime game, so you know the fans are going to be into it, at least for a half. Maryland fans like to leave early sometimes. I don't have a lot of faith in this game. Truthfully, I think I would have a little bit more faith in this game if Michigan State won last week, because it'd be a good spot for a letdown. But I think Michigan State is just going to be pissed off from getting embarrassed last week, giving up 49 points in their own house to Ohio State. I think they're going to come out and just spank Maryland.
I do too. I mean,
especially without Maryland playing without their best player. Although Deion Long's a capable receiver as well. He's not Stephon Diggs.
And Marcus Leak. I mean, they have good receivers. They have a great receiving core. But you lose your best receiver and one of the top 5 receivers in college football, you're going to struggle, and you're going to struggle against a lot of teams, especially a team like Michigan State. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a game like when we played Wisconsin, where it starts out bad and it ends bad, and everything in between is bad. I don't think it's going to be a fun game to watch. The first, maybe the national anthem will be fun, like opening kickoff, but by about 8:45, you guys can turn to the Auburn Georgia game or any other game for that matter. Let's move to the next game. This will be a fun game to watch, a battle of Florida teams. Florida State going into Miami. A lot of people are on the Miami side on this game, which is not, I guess it's a little shocking. You look into the numbers, it's not as shocking. It's going to be a good game regardless. Miami has a top 5 offense with Kai behind the helm. Duke Johnson, great running back.
So good.
I think the biggest thing, and I know I'll let you talk about it, I think the biggest thing is that Miami their defense is much better against the pass than against the run, which is good when you obviously got a team like Florida State with Jameis Winston. I know he can run as well, and with Florida State's running back situation, I think Miami stands a chance in this game. It's not a game that I really have strong values one side or the other. It's going to be a good game, and I look forward to watching it. What are your 2 cents in this game?
If Miami can get Duke Johnson going early, they do stand a chance, but I still like Florida State to win this game. Really a home game for Miami, but Miami might have the worst fans in all of college football. They bring nobody to that game. That stadium's going to be at least half Florida State fans. Florida State isn't great versus the run, so they're going to have to sell out the to defend the run versus Duke Johnson, who was just an absolute beast on the ground. Mm-hmm. It might be close in the first half, especially the way Jameis has been playing in the first half, but come on, Florida State's not going to lose. I think Florida State's going to go into the playoffs undefeated again. You're going to see Jameis Winston put the team on his back and lead this team to victory again.
It would be shocking if he can go 2 years undefeated and leave college football as an undefeated quarterback. Wow. But I think it's going to be a good game. If they can keep pounding the rock with Duke Johnson, like we said with a couple of earlier games where you're playing against a good offense with a decent running game, if you can pound the rock, control the game, keep Jameis off the field, I think Miami stands a chance to win this game. And if I can't say it. I still think Florida State wins. I've tried. I'm trying to say Miami's going to win, but I still think Florida State wins. It'll be a good game. Let's move to the best game of the week, ranking-wise at least, the game with the most on the line. It's the only game that has both teams that can still make the college playoffs. I think this is probably the only game this week that has both teams that are playing in
Um,
it.
if Bama wins, yes. If Bama loses, I think they're
No,
done.
going into the game,
Oh
both
yeah, yeah.
both teams that have a
Yep,
chance.
yep.
Mississippi State, Alabama. What an SEC battle. I mean, going into the year, we thought most people thought Mississippi State was going to be good. Obviously, not this good. Maybe ranked in around 20, something like that. Dak Prescott's just playing out of his mind. Alabama's Alabama. Mississippi State coming in with the number 2 rusher in the SEC with Josh Robinson. Mississippi State's number 1 SEC offense versus Bama's number 1 SEC defense. It'll be a fun game to watch. A lot of fun matchups.
Yeah, Bama's an 8.5 point favorite. I just can't wrap my head around it. I know they've been great at home this year with the stat outscoring teams 194 to 33 at home. That's an absurd number. If this game was on the road, the spread would be nowhere near that. But I just can't. I want to pick Mississippi State, and I'm going to pick Mississippi State. I think it would be cool to see them win. I think they're. I don't trust Blake Sims, even though Mississippi State has a bad secondary and they're easy to throw on. Amari Cooper's going to have a big day. I'm picking Mississippi State to go into Bama. Part of it's that I like Mississippi State and I want them to win. Part of it's that I've never really been a big Bama fan.
All right, fair enough. It's going to be a good game. I think Alabama wins, and if I had to bet, I think they cover that spread. But it's scary to think about that game. There's a lot of different variables going into that game.
What's
Whenever
the stat I heard? I think I heard earlier today that Bama is what 3-11 in their last 14 SEC games, or they're at home favored by less than 10.
what a stat!
Yeah.
Is it when it's raining and it's dark out and the quarterback puts his left shoe on before his right shoe?
Yep.
Anytime there's an SEC team that's ranked number 1 on offense going against a number 1 defense, whenever you got something like that mixed up in it, it makes it hard to judge. There's a lot of different things that can go into it when you got the best at one side going against the best at another side. I mean, it provides for great for entertainment, but it's tough to really judge. So it'll be fun to watch. I'm sad it's a 3:30 game. Wish that was a night game, but what can we do? A lot of good games. What else you want to touch on with college football, other than it's a big game, big weekend? A lot of different options can go different ways, and they can really control the outset of what goes forward in college football.
Not too much. Just excited to sit back and enjoy the games.
Good. Let's talk about another college sport real quick, or you want to go MLB? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Let's talk a little basketball first because I am excited. Man, I love college basketball. I'll sit here and say I like college basketball more than I like NFL, more than I like college football, more than I like MLB, more than I like anything. More than I like UFC, and that says a lot. I love watching college basketball, and if there's one thing on this earth that can break my heart more than anything else, it's the Maryland Terrapins basketball team, and they are damn good at breaking my heart.
Anybody want to piss off Brent? Tell him about just let him remember what it felt like when Clemson came in and just dismantled
That game
Maryland.
changed my life. Haven't been as passionate about sports. Corey Lucius can rot in hell for doing what he did to Maryland in the tournament. Anyway, let's move on from that. Before we get talking about the Terps this year, I want to spend some time on them, talk about what we expect out of them. Just a quick rundown of the top 10 this year, early preseason top 10. As you know, preseason top 10s mean jack shit. Hardly the teams are even in the top 10 at the end of the year. But these are all like blue blood programs right here. So we got number 1, you have Kentucky. Number 2, Arizona. Number 3, Wisconsin. 4, Duke. 5, Kansas. 6, UNC. 7, Florida. 8, Louisville. 9, UVA. And 10, Texas. I mean, these are all very good teams preseason. A lot of common trend, you can kind of see a lot of them. They all have players coming back, which is surprising for Kentucky. This Kentucky team is loaded. Like I was talking to Evan earlier, they could have potentially, on the low end, potentially 7 first-round picks. Maybe even more on that roster. This team, a lot of hoopla is being thrown around about them going undefeated. I'm just going to say right now, there's a better chance of me learning how to ski by 9 o'clock tonight than them going undefeated. I couldn't even snowboard down the bunny hill, so what the hell makes you think I can learn how to ski in an hour and a half?
It made me remember what it was like when we took you skiing.
This Kentucky team is not going to go undefeated. They might put an absurd record, maybe lose 2-3 games. Wouldn't shock me, but they are.
I made him go snowboarding with me because we had nothing else to do. It was like a crappy night in college, and we went snowboarding. And we had a couple of drinks, and I was like, we took the bunny hill, and he couldn't even make it down that. He was knocking over 3-year-olds, and then I was like, the backside at Ski Liberty, that's much easier. Let's go down the backside. I took him to the top. This guy ended up walking down the
It
bunny
took me
hill with one
45
foot.
minutes to walk down a fucking hill. Went inside, bought a $4 Snickers, and watched TV. Great friends.
That pretty much sums up the night in a nutshell. Um, yeah, what a night, and that tells you it's tough. To go 45-0, it's not going to happen. I'm 42-3 maybe, 41-4, 45-0 is tough. Kentucky's a great team. Um, give me your Final Four. I know it's almost impossible to predict that because you don't know.
Come on.
Give me your Final Four.
All right, Final
Just
Four
have
off the
fun
top of
with
my
it.
head.
Just have fun with it. Have
Maryland,
fun.
Maryland, Maryland, Maryland. No, let's go. We'll go Kentucky, Zono, Wisconsin, Duke. Wow, out on a limb there. Top four teams. Because
I'll,
that's
I'll,
what I think about the preseason Final Four.
I'll switch it up a little bit and put Kansas in there instead of
Woo.
Kentucky.
Going off a limb there.
Hey,
Really taking a shot.
We'll see. MVP.
MVP. You mean the Naismith Player of the Year?
We'll call it the MVP.
I don't know. I really don't.
Okay.
Frank Kaminsky. The Naismith Player of the Year, also the ugliest person in college basketball.
All right. Well, I mean, you got like Marcus Page, Khalil Okafor. There's a lot of different names thrown out there. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, so let's do a brief little talk about the Terps this year. I want to be optimistic. Mark Turgeon did a good job running off the idiots off the team. I'm so glad that the lazy and the players, the cancers, they're gone.
Nick Faust, Shaq
Nick
Clear,
Faust.
Charles Mitchell.
No, Shaq Clear. He wasn't a cancer.
I'm just naming everyone that's gone.
No, well, the other
not
three were Charles Mitchell, Seth Allen, and Nick Faust were all cancers and idiots. Couldn't be happier that they're gone. But I like this team kind of. It's going to depend on the big men. If we can get solid play out of DeMonte Dodd, we can get solid play out of a freshman Alexander Sikovsky, who's a stud. Well, a lot of talent. We'll see. He's a.
What about Jonathan Graham? What do you think about him coming back?
Actually, I kind of like him more than most people do. He's not going to give you 8 to 10 points a game, but I like him because he can actually get in the post, box out, play a little dirty, old man YMCA basketball. I like that. Obviously, you have Des Wells.
Best player on the team.
Yeah. Hopefully, a guy like Jake Layman can finally step up and be the player we think he is. He shows flashes of being a potential first-round pick, talent-wise, but he's soft. He doesn't like to play hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. He disappears. But the biggest key, and it's a lot of pressure for a freshman, and that's Romello Trimble at point guard. A lot of good things have been said about this guy preseason. I mean, it's the curse of the best player in practice. You always hear that about these guys.
Top recruit. Yeah.
But I like him to really come in and help this team. I think this team's going to be around a 19-11, 2010 type win. They're going to win some games they shouldn't. They're going to lose some games that they shouldn't. This is a big year for Mark Turgeon. I don't know if he can. I know he's got a big contract, and the school's not doing great with money, but I don't know if he can survive it not making the NCAA tournament again.
They got to make it. It's been too long without it. I mean, Trimble's coming in. He's a top recruit. He may end the year as the best Terp, depending what he does. Two new guys, Deion Wiley and Jared Nickens, both good shooters. Deion Wiley was a 45th ranked recruit coming in on Scout.com.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to contribute right away, but he's actually had a really good preseason, and people are loving him.
I like Jake Layman this year, coming out, trying to have a little bounce back year. Not a great year last year, but I think he comes back. He might be like the new Sean Mosley, so to speak. He's streaky. He can be hot. He can be cold. He needs to be stronger. But if he can spread the offense out a little bit, it'll be make for many more lanes going in with Des Wells. Evan Smonter's going to miss a few games to start with a broken foot, but he's proven to be good. Probably the best overall shooter on the team. It'll be fun to see how they do. They have a lot of potential. I think they make the NCAA tournament.
Let's hope.
They should. So a lot to talk about. We'll talk about it every time from here on out.
Absolutely.
Now that we're in full force. So. Anything else you want to touch on before we move out of that? We just wanted to touch briefly. A lot to talk about, but couldn't touch it all. But
not really. We'll talk about it throughout the season. There's a lot of games getting going on this weekend. I'm just super excited it started. Real quick before we get into kind of the end of the show staples that we'd like to do, we'll talk briefly about these MLB awards. We're kind of running long. I don't want to go too long, but it was announced yesterday that Clayton Kershaw obviously won the National League Cy Young. Corey Kluber won the American League Cy Young. Evan called it. Props on that. I definitely thought it was going to be Felix, and it was interesting. Felix finished ahead of Corey Kluber in the AL MVP award, but behind him in the AL Cy Young. Don't really understand the logic behind that. American League MVP Mike Trout, much deserved, young beast, finished second 2 years in a row, and NL MVP Clayton Kershaw. Can't really argue that. John Carlos Stanton had a good year, but he wasn't on a winning team. Got hit in the face at the end of the year. Didn't get to finish strong.
Yeah.
And what Clayton Kershaw did was just unbelievable. Just kind of wanted to highlight that. Oh, we got to give props to our boy. Congratulations to Buck Showalter, AL Manager of the Year. With that said, it's World Series or bust next year for the Orioles. Bottom line.
Absolutely, they got all the pieces they need. They got everything they need moving forward. We're gonna talk about this a lot in detail, different options.
Yeah, once the hot stove gets going, we'll really kind of talk that.
Marquez looks like he's coming back. It'll be tough to get other people back, but we'll talk about it in full depth. We may have to do like just a Spur podcast where we do maybe a third one of the week where we do nothing besides talk about Orioles and the hot stove. It'll be fun to do something like that, but we'll figure it out. I love Orioles. Brent does as well. A lot of passion for that. So one more thing to touch on real quickly. Clayton Kershaw is the MVP. I like it. I don't like having pitchers as MVP, but when you got somebody that good, somebody who's going to pitch one every 4 or 5 games, I don't like him as an MVP, but he deserved it, and there was nobody else. If there was a stud who batted 330, 45 home runs once they won the World Series, it'd be a different story, but he deserved it. There was nobody else that could have taken it from him. I'll end with that. I get excited. I start talking about baseball, and I can't stop. Let's talk about DraftKings. You want to talk quickly about our picks coming up?
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah, just go ahead and give your optimal lineup. I'm 2-1 versus Evan. He won the first week. I crushed him the last week. Not really a contest, but go ahead, give your lineup, and then I'll give mine.
All right, I got Phillip Rivers, bought him low. I like buying cheap quarterbacks. Le'Veon Bell, Alfred Morris in my running back position. Jordan Matthews has now become Mark Sanchez's favorite friend, favorite target in Philadelphia. Bought him cheap. I'm walking it tonight. I know he's going to have a tough matchup against Brent Grimes. Dwayne Allen is my tight end, and this is shocking. My flex is actually tight end and Jimmy Graham. I always have an expensive flex. I always try not to spend as much money and then have a lot of options to flex. Jimmy Graham, Bills defense tonight against Miami. That's my lineup. I'm trying to win. I'm lost the last 2 against Brent. Let's hear yours.
I as well like going cheap at quarterback. I'm going to pick Teddy Bridgewater going against an awful Chicago defense. Running back, I'll take Bradshaw and Alfred Morris. Going to load up at wide receivers and get Odell Beckham, AJ Green, Brandon LaFell. Tight end, Dwayne Allen. Defense, I'm taking Denver versus St. Louis. And then at the flex, I'm going to take superstar Antonio Brown. So those are our DraftKings lineups of the week. Hopefully you can actually play our lineups. Last week, if you would have played my lineup, you would have placed on the lower end of some of the contests, would have won at least your money back and maybe a little bit more. And probably in a head-to-head you would have won, because what I notice is when I play a lot of head-to-head matchups, usually if you can get into the 170 to 180 range, you're going to cash out pretty good. So that's that. If you're not on DraftKings, try it out, FanDuel, whatever. I play DraftKings. I love it. It's a lot of fun. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into our That's What He Said segment of the week, the part where we're going to ask each other questions, 50-50 questions, and see what the other person thinks. So I'm going to give Evan my 5 questions. Right now I have 2 college football and 3 pro questions. So I'll start out with the college football questions.
Sure.
All right. So number 1, Nebraska and Wisconsin play this week. We talked about it earlier. Matches 2 of the best running backs in the country. So far this year in 18 games, Abdullah and Gordon have combined for over 2,700 yards and 36 TDs. Will the over-under for them this week be more or less than 325 yards on the ground?
We talked about earlier, 2 top 5 running backs. I want to make it plain and simple. No.
Okay. Can you go ahead and throw me your pen, please? I know we're live on the air, but we're just going to discuss like we aren't.
Highlighter.
Thank you. Number 2, Auburn at UGA, another game we talked about. Todd Gurley's back, stud backfield. Gurley and Chubb this year have combined for over 1,600 yards and 15 touchdowns. And Gurley,
he saw Gurley, got a Chubb. There we go.
Yeah, attaboy. Will Chubb and Gurley combine this week for at least 225 yards versus an awful Oregon defense?
225 yards.
Yeah, that noise is great to hear in the microphone.
I think they do.
I won't say it, but I will say it. That was an awful noise.
I won't say it, but I will say it. Yes, they do.
Okay. Easy enough. All right. This week, We got the 3 AFC North teams playing. The Ravens are on a bye. Houston at Cleveland, Cincy at New Orleans, Pitt at Tennessee. Do they at least go 2-1?
2-1. I think Pitt beats. This is weird because Pitt in the last 6 games going after they played. Oh, I don't know. Uh, I think Cincinnati loses. I think I'll say no. I think 2 of the teams lose.
I hope you're right. I hope they go 0-3. All right, over under this Sunday night's game, touchdowns thrown by Andrew Luck and Tom Brady, 5.5.
5.5, 3-3.
Great math.
Did they both get 3? This is tough. It's a good one. 3-2. I say no. No. Maybe one gets 3, one gets 2.
Okay. It's fun. Always fun to hear you do math. And lastly, will Detroit and Arizona's teams' rushing yards this week be over and under? This is combined, both teams' rushing yards, over under 140 yards.
Let me say it very quickly. Yes.
Okay, attaboy. All right, go ahead. Give me your numbers.
All right. Michigan State is number 6 in offensive scoring this year, averaging around 44.5 points a game. Do they get more or less than that this week against Maryland? Silence.
I'll just be a homer, say less.
Okay, less. Number 2. This one's a little interesting. We talked about it slightly earlier. Mississippi State number 2 rusher, number 2 in the SEC with rushing, and Josh Robinson, and Bama has the number 1 defense. Does Josh Robinson against that number 1 Bama defense rush for 100 yards?
No.
Okay. Number 3. Houston versus Cleveland. Games both quarterbacks. We talked about it earlier. Play behind Tom Brady. Will Tom Brady throw for more touchdowns than both of his understudies, Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett? Or tie. More or tie.
I got to think that Brady's going to throw for at least 3. Those 2, 1 game. Yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay. Okie dokie. Number 4. Philadelphia and Green Bay. Game I think is the 2 best NFC teams. Both teams with their top 2 receivers, meaning Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson for Green Bay. For Philadelphia, it's Macklin and Jordan Matthews. Is there a passing touchdown to a wide receiver, not a tight end, to a wide receiver that's not named Cobb, Matthews, Macklin, or Matthews?
Oh, only wide receiver?
Yeah, not a tight end.
I'll say no wide receiver. Wouldn't shock me to see a running back or tight end, though.
No Riley Cooper or somebody like that? Okay. Lastly, Seattle, Kansas City in the NFL, over under 3.5 rushing touchdowns combined between Marshawn Lynch and Jamal Charles.
I'm going to go under on that one.
All right, so they get 3 or less. Okay. We'll recap that on either Sunday or next Thursday, depending on what time. Our time restraints, we got a lot of sponsors who got to get their time in, so we'll see how much we can get in with that. Let's go to our infamous Locks
of the week.
Locks of the week.
Break it down for you guys. 7-1 the last 2 weeks after a horrible 0-4 start. This is quickly becoming my favorite part. I know Evan's loving it too. We get to make some picks and kind of show off our genius brains right here. So right now, we're kind of going to introduce you guys a little something here. We have our 2 locks of the week so far. So I'm 4-2 so far. Evan's 3-3. And since we've been doing well, we're kind of add a new little bit. We're going to give some bonus picks, and we're going to keep track of the bonus picks separately from the locks of the week. So, Evan, if you want to give your 2 locks of the week, then I'll give my 2 locks of the week, and then we'll give our bonus picks.
All right, and when we say locks, we do 1 NFL lock and 1 college. Can't be two of either side. My NFL lock of the week. I'll go with the teams I like first before I do my lock of the week. In the NFL, I have one that I like. I like St. Louis plus 9.5 against Denver. Denver obviously is the best team or one of the best teams in the NFL. I know it's at St. Louis. St. Louis is no slouch. They're no bottom-tier team. They're right in the middle. 9.5 is a lot to give to anybody on the road, especially in a dome, which could be loud depending what the fans show up like. I think Denver wins. I don't think they cover the 9.5. I can see like a 31-24, something along the lines. I think St. Louis covers the spread. But my lock of the week.
Hey, dummy! I said bonus picks after.
No, but I want to give our bonus ones and then our locks because our locks are the best. Buffalo plus 5.5 tonight against the Miami Dolphins. Both 5-4 teams, divisional game. I like Buffalo to win that game outright, along with especially when they get 5.5 points.
Okay.
I'll go to my college. I like Texas A&M getting 4.5 or minus 4.5. I like them to beat Missouri at home. I also like Oregon State. Um, Oregon State at home, they always seem to win one game against a much better team. I think they have Arizona State coming to town to
Possible
Corvallis.
letdown spot
Yeah,
playing Notre Dame.
yeah, I like Oregon State to come in. I don't know if they're going to win. I wouldn't be shocked. I think they cover 9.5.
Tough test to win. I mean, but
Yeah, it's a letdown game up in
yeah,
Corvallis.
I like it. It's a
They're
good
pretty
pick.
big up there. And my college lock of the week. We talked about it earlier. Nebraska going to Wisconsin. Nebraska's getting 6 points. I like
Six and a
Nebraska to
half,
win.
actually,
6.5. You're
which
right.
makes it even better.
Yeah, I like Nebraska in a game where there's two very similar teams. Close game. Any team getting 6 points, 6.5 points in that game, I got to take it. I take Nebraska to come close in that game. I don't know if they're going to win. I wouldn't be shocked. 6.5. I like Nebraska plus 6.5. Let's hear yours, Big Master.
Alrighty, so what, 4-0 the past 2 weeks. I'm going to give you my two locks of the week, and then I'll give you a couple that I like other. I'm going to go with two totals again. First one should be no surprise. I love overs. I'm going to go over in the Auburn-Georgia game. It's a game that matches two high-powered offenses and two poor defenses. Georgia, they boast the best backfield in the country. They got three studs back there. Auburn also has a great ground game. Got Nick Marshall and Cameron Artis-Payne, who actually leads the SEC in rushing, I believe, or if not leader, he's up there. UGA, their defense gave up over 400 yards on the ground versus Florida. I think this is going to be a shootout. And in my NFL lock of the week, I'm going to go ahead and shock the world. I'm going to take an under. I'm going to take the under in the Buffalo-Miami game. It's under 41. That's a pretty low number, but this game screams like 16-13, something around that to me. Both of these teams have very good defenses with potential Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Miami, they lost. They're hurting on the offensive line right now. I know Lamar Miller's going to play, but who knows what his health is like. Like I said earlier, I don't trust Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball in the air. I like the Bills to win this in a close game. And here are some bonus picks that I'll give you. I like Minnesota Chicago. I like the over of 46 in that game. I like LSU +1 at Arkansas. I like the over 64.5 in the Rice at Marshall game. And I like Mississippi State +8.5 at Bama. 8.5 points is a lot for the number one team in the land to be catching on the road in a tough SEC game. All right, so those are our locks of the week. Hopefully this is a little bit longer show than normal, but I think it's one of our better shows yet. Hopefully you guys enjoy us. Hit us on Twitter at BirdtownSH Radio for the show. My Twitter name is at BMoreLA3. Evans is at EPICCI17. Gladly talk to you guys. You want to email us, you can email us birdtownsportshour@gmail.com. Check out our Twitter. We're posting our blogs. We like to post a couple blogs of the week, our locks of the week, or Evan likes to write some blogs about the Ravens and local teams. So thanks for listening. Give it a shout. Any final words there, great master?
Yeah, I agree. We had fun. This is very fun. My favorite is so far. A lot to talk about in it, but no Ravens this weekend. So we can just relax, sit back on a chair, enjoy it, have fun. Great talking to you guys. We'll talk to you guys on Sunday night. Thanks for listening.
Peace.